back, everybody, to Mic'd with Mike, Volume 3. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of the United Way. And this is really the cool part. That's unusual for somebody to say about your part of the world, right, Liz?
That is very unusual.
Liz Evans is here. And why it's unusual is what the United Way does. That's a little different than other organizations. Is first we go out and we sort of figure out what everybody needs. Then we look at the agencies that we're going to work with and say, yes, this makes sense. And then we actually work with them and track them to make sure it actually happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, studying the needs, we publish a Compass Community Needs Survey.
Right.
It's a partnership, a bunch of different organizations region-wide get together to create this study. And from that study, we look at what can United Way do that meets the needs of the community.
Right.
So we look within the pillars of health, financial stability, education, and then basic community needs, so food and shelter.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean,
Absolutely.
you sort of need food and shelter.
You need those things.
Yes.
So we look at that and we have developed some goals. And then we ask our partner organizations, what can you do to help all of us work together to meet these goals? What is your role?
And what's really cool is once we get that, then we have volunteers come in and look at all these different programs. Community volunteers, neighbors helping neighbors.
Yes.
Backgrounds, I've got to believe, are as diverse as the community.
Yes, they are very, very diverse.
You know, from business people to retirees to teachers to social workers to everyone. And then they really dig deep into the Compass and into the whole process, correct?
Yes, the community investment volunteers, they are the ones that are reading every proposal, and then they score, they get together, they talk about their scores and come up with an consensus score for each group of proposals. Then from their recommendations, that goes on to the committee of the board that helps determine the funding. But that's all volunteer driven. So that's something very special about our United Way.
Well, and it's very special too because there's a whole bunch of different people doing it with a whole bunch of different input. I've sat on a couple of these committees and it's really interesting. You have some fun discussions from different perspectives because everybody brings a little bit of a different background, which I think really helps the entire process. And then we actually then look at the agencies, right, and certify that they make sense.
Yes, the certification process is a process in which the organizations who want to be partners of United Way, they send us all sorts of documents, their financials, their business plans, strategic plans, and we look at to make sure that the organization itself is healthy. We make sure that their financials are good and there's no major issues going on. We look at to make sure that they have healthy management processes, and that's something that when giving to the United Way, you know that we've done our due diligence in making sure that it's a healthy organization with great programs that are being funded.
And then also, real quickly, we bring those groups together. You guys do 4 times a year.
Yes.
And say, let's talk to each other, what's working, what's not working. But the cool thing is you guys sort of run the discussion saying this is where we see continued need.
Yep. We get together with our programs quarterly and we look at, these are the goals that we're all working towards together. What are you measuring? How are you measuring it? What are some great practices and how are we working together so that we can make sure that we've all got our eye on the same prize and are moving together to make sure that our community is going in a great direction.
See, and that's what's really cool. that to me is what makes United Way so unique. When I'm out talking to groups, I'm always talking about due diligence. Now, part of that is because of my career being a financial advisor. We're always doing due diligence. We're always looking at companies. But when you're giving to a charity, you don't have the ability to always dig deep, and that's why I think this is so important. And next year, you're going to be looking for about 100 folks to be community volunteers, right?
Yes, we certainly are. We need those community investment volunteers. It's a great opportunity to learn about all of the wonderful programs doing work in your communities.
Yes, we pick about 76 of them. So how can you help? Well, one way you can help right now is by picking up your phone and texting "We Win" to 40403 and making a donation for our 2018 campaign. You also can call the office and say, hey, I want to volunteer, and I'm sure you put them on a list, Liz, for next year.
I have a list. I have that list started. It's such a unique opportunity.
796-1400 is the phone number. Ask for Liz or Miss Due Diligence. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Again, don't forget, text "We Win" 40403. You can make a difference. Even $1 a week can make a difference. That can feed 3 people for a month.